At a request, I've put together a Nightmare Karkanis team that doesn't involve any limited or collaboration units. One of the staples of this team is Shu. Shu is really good in this. She has an AoE attack on her S3, which is nice. Load her up with Daydream Joker. She gives anti-crit to the whole team, which will help reduce your incoming damage. Counter set's optional, but it really does help, and you want her on her S1 EE just like you would have her on in PvP for added chance of her S1 going into Foosh. Angelic Montmorency will be our healer. You want her to have 200% effect resistance if possible to keep the debuffs off her. It's important she stays free and alive. I put her on Magahara's Tome to cycle her skills a little bit faster. Ran is a fantastic unit for this. He doesn't need to be built fast. In fact, I could have changed his boots to attack main boots and it probably would have been cleaner. I put on a Prophetic Candlestick to help cycle his S2 and S3 skills a bit more, but he spams immunity, he has a defense break, and if you soul burn his S3, it ignores effect resistance, so you don't even really need effectiveness on him. Ida is another source of defense break. She has a defense break on her S1, she strips on her S2, and her S3 can stun, which is great for the ads. So you do want to have 85% effectiveness on her. I put her on Ayala's Violin to help strip the shields off of Karkanis. As for a Guardian, it doesn't really matter. I went ahead and took Kazran as a source of cleansing in a pinch, but you will probably use all of your souls, soul burning Ida and soul burning Shu and soul burning Ran. All three of them are great soul burn options. This team is extremely resilient, especially with Angelic Montmorency, so you can just put it on auto and run it all the way to the far corner. Now remember, when you get to the very last corner before you turn left to go up to the boss, you want to either turn auto off or turn your skills off, because that's the last fight, and that way you can make sure all your skills are ready to fight Karkanis. Now when you get to this corner, you will be out of the green on morale, so it's a good time to camp.
Cheer up! I make a few, no, a lot of mistakes, but I'm working hard to do better. I once wanted to help someone, but in the end, all I did was mess everything up. They said it was fine, but...
Thankfully, Angelic Montmorency is not nearly as bad as she thinks she is. To make sure that we're fully healthy, you can drink those blue potions in the corner to top off. We're at full health, so it didn't really matter. Now we can jump into the fight.
Alright.
So I've gone over it before, but again, here are the basics of the fight. Everybody is sealed, so you don't want to use units that have passives. For example, Seaside Bellona, absolutely useless in this fight. She'll never proc her extra AoE attack. When you are debuffed, you don't want to hit Karkanis. Now, counters don't matter that much. You'll still get the cleanse. You'll notice Karkanis cleansed the defense break away when she hit him while debuffed, but you can't counter off of a counter, so Karkanis won't hit you back. Now, if you attack Karkanis while you're debuffed, he will counterattack. Notice I was debuffed there, it triggered a counterattack from Karkanis, and later on in the fight especially, he hits extra hard. So if you've got a debuff on one of your characters, you hit one of the front mobs to waste your attack, so you don't trigger the counterattack from Karkanis. Montmorency can put immunity, and if you soul burn that skill, she'll put immunity on everybody. Her S2 is a cleanse, because as you can see, the front little mobs put debuffs up as well, so it does get a little bit annoying with the debuffs. Look how hard the defense penetration on that Shu hits, combined with the defense break. It was almost a third of the health in one hit. Shu is really good for this fight. Ran is one of our squishier units, but him giving himself a skill null helps keep him on his feet. Now, Karkanis will occasionally put himself in stealth, so we'll use Ida. I'm going to soul burn. In this case, You would normally soul burn to S2 into the S3, but since he's out of stealth, there's no real reason to S3. I want to save the S3 in case he stealths again, so we'll use the S1. I got 15%ed on the defense break though, so that's unfortunate. That would have been a really good hard hit from Shu. I've really got no reason to heal. At this point, everybody is healthy and nobody's debuffed, so I'm just going to S1 with Montmorency. I'll put immunity up on everybody with Rand. That'll help slow the debuffs down. I'm not going to S3 though. Even though the S3's got a defense break in it, I want to save my AoE skills for stripping the barriers and stripping the stealth away.
I can do it. I can.
Defense break, nice.
How should we do
There's
this?
the immunity that kept all those debuffs from landing.
I'll help you. That must have
I do have a
been
debuff
painful.
on Shu, so I'll use the S1 or the S2 skill in Montmorency to get rid of it.
Are you sure?
Did not get a whoosh. S1 defense break. Ida is on point with these defense breaks.
Alright.
Montmorency's 200% effect resistance, making sure that immunity never gets stripped away. We've got stealth up, so I'm going to soul burn the S3. That guarantees the strip, and if I don't get bad RNG, I will get the defense break. Bad RNG in the sense that Rand's S3 is not a 100% chance to defense break. Got the defense break though. Montmorency's hurt a little bit, so I'll S2 to heal up here.
Could die.
I've got the defense break, so I'm going to rip the S3 here. The S3 doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does give me a chance to stun the mobs in the front, and that's less debuffs. I'm using my S1 here because I want a chance for the whoosh and extra damage. I didn't get it. Regretting it a little bit, wondering if I should have gotten the anti-crit up.
I can do it. I can.
Go ahead and S2 here just to push everybody back. We have now passed into the final phase. Once you get that speed buff on Karkanis, he will no longer go into stealth. So we don't have to worry about stealth anymore, but we do have to worry about the fact that he's going to be cycling very quickly and doing a lot of extra damage because of it. So we want to burst him down as quickly as possible. I'm going to get the anti-crit up here to try to reduce the incoming damage a little bit. Something else you may have noticed is once you proc the speed buff, although he no longer goes into stealth, his attacks cause injury, which hurts Shu's damage, so you do want to burst this phase down as quickly as possible.
Leave it to me.
I'll take down anyone who interferes with me.
I was thinking about soul burning the S3, but everybody's got immunity already, so I'm going to save that. Defense break, no defense break. And my Shu's whoosh seems to be broken. So there's the double hit that can happen when you're in this speed debuffs or the speed buff phase. You want to make sure your Momo doesn't get stunned by that. Now, I could have ended this right here. I wasn't really thinking. I've got all of these souls, and if you soul burn Shu, it's extra turns. So I could have just cleansed this off, tried for a debuff, which I got. Well, I lost it here, but I could have just soul burned her S1 over and over again and killed it right here, but instead I forgot that Shu gets extra turns when you soul burn her, because I'm not used to having souls when I use Shu. But you can really burn through this last phase in the blink of an eye by just soul burning Shu.
I'll show you the path to victory. Alright. Show me what you can do. You're slow.
So instead I just rip Kazran here, and that should do enough damage to finish this off. Oops, I guess not. I'll rip Kazran a second time, and that will definitely finish it off. So soul burning would have been better, at least faster, but this worked as well, and I think it shows that this team is very clean and pretty safe and should work even at a lower gear level. Now if you want to go collect the mini bosses, first thing you want to do is teleport back to the center. You can put it on auto again. None of the mini bosses really are that hard. You want to take it to this first corner here. this first corner is the first mini-boss. And it's a plagued type, so with Momo on the team, this won't be any threat at all. So you can put it back on auto and just burst right through this. The second mini-boss is all the way at the end in the far corner. Now the mini-boss in this corner is a commander type mini-boss, and what happens with the commander mini-boss is every time he is hit, it pushes up the rest of the troops. He commands the rest of the troops to CR push and wreck you, so you don't want to do this one on auto, especially at the low morale. It can actually cost you the fight, so just leave it on manual and use your non-AoE skills and take out the front spiders. Once you drop the front 3 spiders, the commander can no longer push anybody but himself, and you can put it back on full auto again. Once you've killed off all of the front adds, then you can put it back on auto again and just run it all the way through. And that's it. This is all that's in this area. There are a couple other normal fights if you really want to burn the last little bit of your provisions, but if not, just teleport back to the center and head on out. I hope this team helps you clear Karkanis. I hope it alleviates the woes caused by not having limited or collaboration units. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. And as always, like and subscribe. Have a great one, everybody.